So the forecast for the week of April 2nd, we start on Monday, April 2nd. See, the moon is in Alsesha Nakshatra in the sign of Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, sensitive, emotional, and somewhat, even maybe a little bit paranoid. Sorry to use that word, but this is that quality of Cancer that's nervous and afraid of losing our emotional connections. It's called the entwiner, this nakshatra of Alsesha, and it's the things we become entangled in emotionally, and where we want to be entangled and we want to be tangled up in something. And so this emotional entanglement of Alsesha nakshatra is good for things like the mother's love for the child. The mother's heart and emotions get all tangled up in the child. Cancer is a sign of motherhood, so our emotional entanglements that keep us connected to things are what Alsesha is about. But at some point, the mother needs to untangle herself from the child and realize that the child is a free being, that the mother's job was to raise the child but not own the child. Or when the mother's emotional well-being and happiness becomes dependent on the child, then it stops being a selfless love situation. Then the mother's needs and what they want from the child becomes important, and then the child feels pressured by the needs of the parent. And really, just like the earth really demands nothing of us. It gives. The moon is like the divine mother in the form of the providence that comes through the earth, sun and moon. But we feel it in Cancer in the sense of nourishment and nurturing. That's why the nakshatra before Alsesha is called Pushya, which literally means nourishment, and it's a cow's udder, which just gives nourishment. Alsesha is the attachment that comes, the necessary attachment, but the mother's love for the child needs to evolve beyond possessiveness toward the love of truth. And the child is to teach the mother selfless love. But then true selfless love is also allowing the child to be free and not being tangled up in our own emotional needs. When that happens, Alsesha is a very deep nakshatra for being tangled up in the truth and being committed and determined and unwavering in the devotion and certainty of our intuitive heart. And this is the power of Alsesha nakshatra, but it's one of the Sarpa nakshatras. In fact, the deity is Sarpa, the serpent, which is actually related to the thousand-hooded serpent called Alsesha, which Lord Vishnu is sleeping on. He sleeps on a couch supported by Alsesha, the serpent. And this is it's actually also very, this serpent energy has to do with transforming that intensity and going deeply into the potential toxic nature of the emotions, like I just mentioned, and using that power to be a great elixir and a great healer in life. So Alsesha is a great healing nakshatra, and one of the symbols of this nakshatra is the caduceus, which is a Greek symbol of the chakras and of the kundalini. So this is a very powerful kundalini section here, and you'll feel a lot of this strength on Monday with moon and Alsesha. I have to say this also, this nakshatra is the one most related to suicide that I've seen. Usually when there's a suicide, either you see that Alsesha, the person has Alsesha planets in their chart, in their natal chart, then there'll be a transit of a planet through Alsesha. It's a big nakshatra of suicide. So, you might have thoughts of suicide, to say it bluntly. If you're feeling depressed or whatever, be careful on Monday, because these are times when the mind gets unstable. I've seen two people actually living here in San Francisco. You may not know this, a kind of odd fact, but more people kill themselves jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge than I think any other way in the entire world or something. Actually, maybe not by gunshot, but I think in the United States, or maybe any bridge or any location to go do it, the Golden Gate Bridge is it's like the destination. I know two people, I've known them personally, who jumped off actually three, that have jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge. Every time there was Alsesha. Prominent in their chart, prominent by transit, both. So if it's in a prominent nakshatra and you're feeling depressed, be careful on Monday. I just say that. But it's also, as you know, if you have it in your chart, if you have the moon there or a powerful planet there, an important planet, it's one that really takes you to the truth of the matter, the heart of the matter. It's untangling all the emotional stuff is the difficulty. That's why it's ruled by Mercury, who is about untangling things. Mercury knows all the little details, has all the little details, knows how to untangle things. And that's why Lord Vishnu, this is what also the relationship to Alsesha and the couch that Lord Vishnu is sleeping on. Vishnu is related to Mercury. So the big problem with emotions and feelings is possessiveness. When we're not possessive, they're beautiful. When we start to try to possess, they're fearful, scary, and this is the terror that a mother might feel, like the terrifying prospect of their child dying, or the terrifying, that entanglement is so deep. And so we need to become attached and entangled in the truth. Big lesson here on Monday. It's an important junction in the zodiac. So Monday's also ruled by the moon. That's why it's also more magnified. The moon is in Cancer, of course. That's where Alsesha is. But the moon is also the ruler of Monday, so it's more of a emotional day. And this nakshatra is one of the volatile axis, because it's what's called the Gandanta point, where the nakshatra and the rashi stop. The junction between the water and fire signs, there's no nakshatra between them, as it is in other sections of the sky. And it's Shukla Ekadashi, which is the 11th lunar day of the waxing moon. Shukla means waxing, Ekadashi is the 11th lunar day, so Eka 1, Dasha 10. So it's a great day, Ekadashi, for fasting. Spiritual practices are really supported on Ekadashi. And so, this is good for this nakshatra as well, because Alsesha can also be related to like eating disorders and things like that. So it might be a good day to purify a little bit, maybe with a fast, or eat a little less food on Monday as well. On Tuesday, the moon goes into Leo, and one second.